Can anyone tell me any important people that have changed the world? So, most of them are probably going to be men, but there might be some women too. But today, I'm going to read this. This is a non-fiction book called She Persisted, and it's about 13 different American women who changed the world and persisted and kept doing what they loved and what they were inspired to do, in spite other people saying, no, you can't do it, and say that their dream wasn't valid. I'm reading this also because March 8th is a really important day and means a lot to me. It's the International Women's Day, which means that it's the day for women's rights. So the book She Persisted is by Chelsea Clinton, and it's illustrated by Alexander Boiger, and I'm going to show you the backside of it because I think it's a cool way of seeing all the 13 women that we are going to read about. Is all on this page, and after we're reading you can see if you can recognize any of them and point to who is who. Already, do you know any of these women? Maybe, maybe not. I know that I would not be able to tell you who any of them were. As I start reading this, I want you to pay close attention to all of the women in this book that persisted. So keep up your... She persisted. Sometimes being a girl isn't easy. At some point, someone probably will tell you no, will tell you to be quiet, and even tell you your dreams are impossible. Don't listen to them. These 13 American women certainly did not take no for an answer. They persisted. And as I read on, I want you to pay closely attention to each of these 13 incredible women. Starting with Harriet Tubman. Harriet Tubman was born a slave, and her story could have ended there. Instead, she persisted. Escaping from slavery and becoming the most famous conductor of the Underground Railroad, she risked her life many times to lead countless slaves to freedom, including her family, friends, and strangers. Every person she led to freedom arrived safely. And here is a quote by her. I should fight for my liberty as long as my strength lasted. And more detail. Once Helen Keller became blind and deaf as a toddler, few people thought she'd be able to learn to read, write, or speak, but she persisted. Helen learned how to do all three and not only became the first person with deaf blindness to graduate from college, but she used her story to help fight for more opportunities for people with disabilities in the United States and around the world. One can never consent to creep when one feels an impulse to soar. There you have Lady number. So this is Clara Lemlich. After her family fled poverty and the threats of violence in Ukraine for a new home in New York City, Clara Lemlich got a job working at a garment factory. She wrote that the factory condition made women into machines, and so she persisted, organizing picket lines and strikes that ultimately helped win better pay, shorter hours, and safer working conditions for thousands of workers, both women and men. Here's a quote from her. I am one of those who suffer from the abuse described here, and I move that we go on a general strike. There is her striking. Nellie Blee became a reporter in part because of male writers had said that working women were a monstrosity, and she wanted to prove that women could do anything. At this time, putting her safety at risk, she persisted. Throughout her career in exposing real monstrosity, pretending to be a sweet shop worker and a patient in a mental hospital to show how badly people were being treated. And here you have her. I have never written a word that did not come from my heart. I never shall, which is an important and truthfully statement of her that I think is that we can learn from. Inspired from an early age by her brother's childhood illness, Virginia Apgar was determined to be a doctor, long before many girls had such dreams. Even though she qualified to be a surgeon, the male head surgeon at her hospital discouraged her because she was a woman. Nevertheless, she persisted, becoming an astrologist and creating the Apgar score that tests a newborn baby's health, which hospitals all over the world still use today. Here you have her, and I don't know if you can really see, but there's a lot of babies, and then the quote by her: "Nobody, but nobody, is going to stop breathing on me." And she's working with a baby, and this is her work. Think about like how even today it would be. After Maria Tolchi's family moved to California, partly to support Maria's dreams of becoming a dancer, she was teased by students in her school for her Native American heritage, and later was encouraged to change her last name to something that sounded Russian. Since many professional dancers at that time were from Russia, she persisted. Ignoring all of the taunting and poor advice to become the first great American prima ballerina. There is our prima ballerina. It never occurred to me to say, "It hurts to do that." She's a good example of persistence. As a 15-year-old riding a bus home from school in Montgomery, Alabama, Claudette Colwyn was expected to give up her seat to a white woman just because she was African American. In her refuse to get up, she persisted. In taking a stand for what's right, helping to inspire Rosa Parks to make the same choice 9 months later, an act many people point to as starting the modern civil rights movement. And there you have her on the bus, persisting. I knew then, and I know now, that when it comes to justice, there is no easy way to get it. You can't sugarcoat it. You have to take a stand and say, "This is not right." It's really important. When Ruby Bridges was in kindergarten, many schools across America, particularly in the South, still refused African American students their equal right to an education. Ruby wouldn't be treated like a second-class student, and she persisted, walking for weeks past angry, hateful protesters to integrate an all-white elementary school in New Orleans. And there you have her, just a little girl walking to school. Imagine being met with so much hatred. The fateful walk to school began a journey, and we all must work together to continue moving forward. That was her words. They are inspiring. I think we can learn from that. Next up. As the first woman to serve as both a U.S. representative and a U.S. senator, Margaret Chase Smith could have let the fact alone be her legacy. Instead, she persisted in championing women's rights and more opportunities for women in the military, standing up for free speech and supporting space exploring. The head of NASA once noted that we wouldn't have put a man on the moon without Margaret. That is kind of incredible to think about. All of these women that voices are so important to get further in space program, in science, in civil rights movements, all these things. Here are the words of Margaret Chase Smith. The right way is not always the popular and easy way. Standing for right when it is unpopular is a true test of moral character. And I like this photo, or the picture that's drawn here. You'll see. She's the only one of color. Did you notice that? Sally Ride always believed women could succeed in any math or science career. Although not everyone agreed, she persisted. And she became the first American woman in space. But that wasn't enough for Sally. She traveled into space once more. And then created science and engineering programs, especially for girls, so that she could help a generation of young women achieve their dreams too, both on Earth and in outer space. So, woman before, no, my stuff. My recorder. Woman before led men to space. Next one, Sally Ride, lead women to space. Young girls need to see role models in whatever career they may choose, just so that they can picture themselves doing those jobs someday. You can't be what you can't see. That is important. When, as a kid, Florence Griffin Joyner visited her father in the Mayo Desert, he would urge her to run faster and faster, to run as fast as a Jacobite. Even when she had to leave college to help support her family, she persisted in her training on the track, then went back to school and got faster and faster. Her unbroken world record in the 100-meter and 200-meter sprint set at the 1988 Summer Olympics means she is still the fastest woman ever. And then you have her running in the desert as a girl, and then on the track as a grown woman. This is what she had to say. When anyone tells me I can't do anything, I'm just not listening anymore. Anyone heard of this lady? Oprah Winfrey. This is Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey's grandmother expected Oprah to follow in her footsteps and become a maid. Oprah knew, even as a little girl, that her dreams would take her somewhere else. She persisted in turning those dreams into her reality and become a media superstar, working in movies, books, magazine, theater, and most of all, television, where the Oprah Winfrey Show remains the highest-rated talk show of all time. So she had a show. The biggest adventure you can ever take is to live the life of your dreams. Watching fictional judge on a television inspired Sonia Sotomayor to want to be a real-life judge when she grew up. She knew she had to speak English as well as she spoke Spanish, study hard in school, and manage her diabetes before she could one day wear a judge robe with a jewel in her hand. She persisted, eventually become a Supreme Court justice and the first ever Latino to sit on America's highest courts. There you have her working as a little girl in the English, and as a woman pursuing her dream. I have never had to face anything that could overwhelm the native optimism and stubborn perseverance I was blessed with. I was 13, all of them. So, if anyone ever tells you no, if anyone ever say your voice isn't important or your dreams are too big, excuse me, remember those women. They persisted, and so shall you. So this book ends with kind of a message to all women, girls out there that it's not helpless, that we can reach our goal and our dream, and that we can do it. So it ends with they persisted, and so should you.